3 Grave.
Cinderin, that hero has been remade more times than any hero in the history of Dota. So yes, I do remember that.
Oh,
it was like
that was not what I was
short
expecting.
nightmare. Very brief.
Yeah, that was not a popular pickup. It was almost impossible to use, but it was good with PL, because then you didn't know which one was real.
That's true. As Bryle will be playing the Primal Beast in the mid lane versus Gunnar, who gets the last pick, Earth Spirit, again. So something that TSM feel comfortable playing against. I mean, Gunnar did have a very good game, game number 1.
This is a worse Earth Spirit game, though, I would say, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think this mid matchup is not as good as the one in the previous game.
That's first blood for Whitemon. Nicely done from TSM, as they are first on the board.
Yeah. So a couple of things about Earth Spirit. His lane matchup is not as good as last game. It's still fine. He's still going to farm. This hero farms against more or less everything. There's a couple of really bad ones, but this is not it. But he's playing against 2 defensive supports that can actually counter him quite well. Demonic Cleansing is very good against this hero, that the Shadow Demon will ultimately get either by buying it or getting it from the Tormentor. Phoenix with Sunray can, during the egg, Earth Spirit can't stop that from happening as long as the Supernova goes off, and Phoenix has Shard, that hero has major healing, and above all else, arguably, it's 2 supports that Earth Spirit doesn't just kill and run down, right? Like, he has to, if he goes in, he's going to get Demonic Purge, they're going to have saves for each other, and none of the cores are easy kills either. All of them pretty tanky in their own right, so I don't expect Gunnar to have as free of a game as he did last time.
Do you think there's any issue with nouns lineup being so focused, like the fact that they don't really have a frontliner other than the Earth Spirit? That's your mid laner being your frontliner, whereas before your off laner was Brew, who creates a lot of space in the front lane. Now it's a Dazzle who kind of wants to be in the back to be able to get these Graves off.
I mean, they're trying to compensate for that by having a position 4 that can go in this time, right? Last game it was a Skywrath Mage, but now they're putting Lilith on that Clockwork going in. So I do think that can work out, but you're right. In terms of like distributing the farm and having some sort of truly beefy hero, that's probably not going to be the Clock. I think his role in this game is setting the fight. His role is going to be dying, it looks like.
Good dead shot. Lelis resigned to his death, trying to do as much damage before he ultimately goes.
He pulled Tomato in there.
Side the cogs. Another right click will be enough, so Moog gets a nice revenge there.
I play a lot of Clockwork. When I use those cogs, they don't get pulled in. That was crazy. That must have been literally on the last pixel that he got pulled in, and otherwise that is not a kill. So very good news for Nouns to get that kill onto Moo there.
I love Earth Spirit. I know people are so sick and tired of seeing this hero, but it's actually so entertaining to watch. Just kicking people left, right, and center. I mean, how does this matchup go generally, would you say? Because
I think it's
pretty normal mid laners.
Yeah, it's largely a wash. I think Primal might be slightly favored, but
some good blocks there with the PL illusions from K1, but now Ari has come with that dive and slowing K1 perpetually. Blood Grenade is there as well, and Ari will get credit for that kill. So a good turnaround. You talked about the lack of synergy. I mean, if he was able to block a little bit better, the cold feet would have activated.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's a bit of a trap playing aggressively up here. I think your PLA lane has to just accept that you're not playing for kills, but you should be playing for farm. So try to pull as much as you can, try to get key CS with Lance. And I understand that if you're not putting any sort of pressure, the enemy team is just going to run at you non-stop, right, and just punish you. But trying to dive for kills is not the way to do this, I think. It's just too unlikely to work out. And K1, I mean, he was off to a bad game 1 with his Naga. I think this PL, he has way more CS than he did last game around at this time, but also a hero that is extremely dependent on getting his alone time. Phantom Lancer needs to build up.
Seen a couple of Shadow Demons today, and we just saw that combo there potentially. Pull that thought as Yam getting on Ari and Kasane. Like they'll eventually find it, because remember from yesterday, this is an ancient apparition. So Kasane will get a freebie. But the Shadow Demon disruption into the calling, very annoying.
Yep.
Like it literally just sets it up to get that auto silence.
Yeah, and considering how long that slow is on the calling as well, it makes it pretty easy for Shadow Demon to at least land 3, if not 4 Shadow Poison stacks. So this lane does have quite a lot of kill potential. I would say it's particularly good at killing tanky offlaners, which Dazzle isn't even. Right, A is trying to find impact somewhere else because it surely isn't happening top.
Oh, deny of a rune there. Gunnar not going to be too happy with that. Level 3 Phoenix coming in for the kill. in terms of egg killers this game. I mean, PL, classic.
Yeah.
Kind of it, though.
Yep. And I don't think he'll necessarily have the freedom to hit the egg with the right peel, because there's going to be a lot of things to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Primal Beast is going to be on top of you. You need to not get roared. The calling is a pretty major attack speed slow. So, yeah, I genuinely think nouns, with the strategy that they've picked for themselves this game compared to the first one, this feels like a game where K1 has to get 5 slotted or 6 slotted to really get there. Because the rest of their lineup, it's effectively a turtle game almost, right?
He's
it's
buying a
kind of
Midas.
core protect 1.
Midas is the first item of that 5, I believe,
Yep.
right?
I mean, I don't mind it, because I think the right read on this game is, all right, guys, me jungle for, 30 minutes.
Jungle. Yamson trying to go through
Tarzan
the gate,
build.
but he's going to get caught off guard. His Brow's there with the Pulverize. Another death for Yamson. They get a nice little D-ward action of their own. Actually, they're just going to get the half HP, it looks like. Nope, they're actually denying it. I guess it's because it's obvious that it's there, so.
Yeah.
And Moo. It's going to be first item. Is that the normal build? You go right away for the Ags?
It is for mid Dazzle. I would say on offlane Dazzle it varies a little bit, but I don't mind it here. I think Moo's mindset should be, how can I have the biggest impact at 20 minutes? Because that's where the game is going to be decided for nouns largely. They need to buy time for their PL, and if he goes Midas and plays it slow, I think they just get run over. So he kind of has to have a high impact item, and that's the biggest purchase you can make on this hero for that timing in the game. So it also enables certain things to happen in the game, right? It makes it easier for Clockwork to go for kills because he gets a new killing partner suddenly. AA wants to have that extra damage to find Ice Blast kills, so I just think it's just pretty straightforward to make that choice here for Moo.
Nice couple stacks here for TSM as we have a 2-man smoke from Nouns on their way bottom. And Tomato, obviously the prized possession if they can get him. He's going to get slowed to start out. Is Gunner going for the rolling boulder? He's going to get a nice little damage proc onto Whitemon and Tomato, but you can see Bryle has made his way over as well. Pop that illusion room, going for the Pulverize, and Lelis finally gets the cancellation thanks to that battery assault, but he's going to die inside his own cogs. But Bryle, this will be a very big kill for Nouns, and they'll take that trade any day if they can actually finish him off. Pops the uproar for the extra armor, but he does eventually drop to Gunner and that Magnetize.
They are
Tomato
very
low. Blood grenade popped by Whitemon. Tomato apparently still wants to fight. That's because he sees an ancient apparition, which usually means a free kill, but a beautiful kick from Gunner leads to 2 more deaths from TSM.
Ronaldo has arrived.
3 for nothing. That's a soccer reference, I do believe.
Wow, impressive.
Thank you, Cinderin. That was an alley-oop.
That is not a soccer.
Okay.
That is another sport that shall not be named.
Okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Kasane in the mid. Why is Beastmaster falling off? I know there were some nerfs. Has that really been enough? So just because he was the hero like a patch ago. So you can see a little deny here.
Yeah, it's something I've been wondering myself. I don't know if it's because certain meta safe laners just have better lane matchups against Beastmaster than back when he was popular. He got changed a bit, but I thought this hero was really good and was going to be a much bigger pick at this tournament than it has been so far. Maybe we're going to come full circle because now, the things that Beastmaster doesn't like dealing with has been figured out, and now we're, banning those out, and he could maybe make a comeback, but it's a good question. I love this hero in terms of like just overall power in the game. I feel a lot of the times it feels very impactful.
10-minute power rune will be top for the shield rune. As Bryle wants to go in deep. He sees a juicy ancient apparition. Another death for Yamson.
Yamson is playing AA.
Yes.
So it will die.
Now?
Not specifically because it's Yamson, but because he's playing AA.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the player. It's the hero is meant to die. I'm waiting for the talent that has like a death ice blast. I think that's needed for him.
What about respawning faster? Those were great. Let's bring those back. Everybody loved those.
If you bring it back for supports, maybe not so bad. Mid Lina, though, was not fun. As the Tier 1 tower will go the way of TSM. K1 still not quite finished with that Midas.
Yeah. He would go for the tread, so obviously it will take a little bit longer, but...
You can see his farm in comparison to the Muerta a decent amount behind right now. Bryle. His smoke pops. He knows that K1's in the area. Gets the Pulverize onto the correct one. The Sunray actually gets canceled by Ahri. It looks like K1 is just done. No way to get out.
K done.
K done indeed.
Is under attack.
Yep. Well, they're trying to make the most of it down bottom, nouns are, by pushing the tier 1 tower in return. They have the siege creep wave, but being pulled off here by the Shadow Demon almost kills off the siege creep, but actually the creep's reset position was scared of getting dove, so he backed off, and that will probably lead to this tower falling in the end if Mu tanks it up a little bit longer, but he's a bit careful too. All right, not careful.
That is a Shadow Demon. He's actually level 7 right now. Takes an Ice Blast and will drop. As Yamsen finally on the board here with an assist.
Yeah. And now we enter that stage of the game that's going to be, for me, the most interesting, probably the most interesting stage of this game is going to be the next 10 minutes. Mu almost has the Ags. PL is absolutely in the jungle, and he will be there for the foreseeable future.
I mean, his farm is pretty bad right now.
Who plays the tempo better? You have this incredible Ags on Dazzle very early. This is so powerful, but the other team has 5 heroes. So what's better is going to be the question.
Well, if it ends up being an even state of affairs, then I think that Ags might be a little overpowered, if you put it that way. But yeah,
K1 is basically going the greediest possible build, right? Midas into Ags. So that is one farming item into the next farming item. Sure, you can show up to fights with this Aghanims, but essentially you still want to just use it for farming as much as possible. And it feeds into this idea that PL is playing the 6-slot game here, and that was the plan from the beginning. This doesn't seem like a fallback plan for K1 where he was like, oh man, my lane went really poorly. You picked AAPL, you know what you signed up for. You are not winning this lane, so.
Not sure if they think it would have gone better than it did, but I mean, he's only technically 500 behind.
I feel like this is almost par for the course, honestly. I know you're really far behind Beastmaster, right? You're 2K behind, but I think theoretically this lane is just flat out unwinnable. So it's, all things considered, not that bad. Like, we're painting this picture of a terrible PL early game, right? But they're still even on gold, the two teams. So they can buy him the time they need because Dazzle's game is this good.
Yeah.
And Mu will now go Midas.
Yeah.
So.
I'm surprised they didn't go for it earlier, but yeah, makes sense. I mean, the fact that you can actually make the cooldown lower, I kind of have to buy it on a core Dazzle, I feel like. Like this and Ogre, it just feels wrong not to. Even if it griefs the game as an Ogre in some cases, you just got to do it. Feels too good.
Yeah, well, in this tournament, Ogre has been primarily played mid, so I guess he's been more of a core than a support. I want to say LGD played it support one game on Y, but yeah, it's not been a popular support. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is one of the Gunner heroes. I think he lost that game.
No, I think he has both won and lost, if I'm not mistaken. But it was one of the games against Tundra that, you know, nouns were kind of the silent assassins of this tournament, where everyone was like, okay, nouns made it out of groups. Maybe some people didn't expect them to do that well, and then they go into the bracket, and then they beat Tundra, and then all eyes were on them suddenly. Like, okay, these guys are the real deal. And one of those games that they won, they played the mid Ogre. So deservedly so. I feel like nouns are getting a lot of attention and a lot of praise from fans, because not only are they winning matchups that on paper are not favorable, but they pick cool stuff.
Lelez. Oh, he actually hook shots away, but Gunner wants to go in. He's going to take a Primal Roar for his efforts. AA Blast is coming in. He's going to clip 2. Disruption there for the time being, and you can see Primal Beast has made his way over. Nice grave onto Gunner. Can he stay alive for a longer period of time, though? They find the Shadow Demon to start, but there's the trample and the onslaught from Bryle to take their prized possession. And they're going to go for the Dazzle as well, so 2 core kills for TSM, and all they lose is the 5 Shadow Demon.
All right. They won the 5v4, so Dazzle Ags may yet be fine. You were worried about it.
Yep, very worried for another redesign of Dazzle. If I was a betting man, Cinder, this time next year might be an entire different hero again. Maybe Shallow Grave will be passive then.
I miss Weave. I do miss.
That was a boring one, though. I can understand.
I understand it's a polarizing ability. I always thought it was really cool, but I'm also a boring and weird person.
That is true.
I like Venomance, so that says a lot about me.
Stop talking right now.
There you go.
Thank you for joining us.
Your least favorite hero in Dota is Lion.
That's right. That's more personal than anything, though.
Very interesting. Well, fortunately for you, it hasn't been played this tournament. So
thank God. Lelez only 1,500 away from his Aghanim Scepter, which is kind of a crazy... We'll talk about that when he actually picks it up. The old overclock.
Yep.
I mean, looking at the net worth, this game is pretty even, all things considered.
It is.
I think nouns are... If they knew that, they'd be pretty happy with the current state.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations that are, it's kind of interesting because, you know, historically you sometimes look at games and you're like, okay, this hero is pretty good against PL, this hero is pretty good against PL. I feel like PL, unless he's like double or triple countered, he ultimately reaches a point of, you know, just becoming too much of a nuisance. Even if, let's say Muerta, you're like, yeah, she's pretty good against him. He uses Pierce the Veil, he can't hit her. He can just kite forever, you know? And then you just outlast all the problems you have, and then eventually it's too much. So I do think if this becomes a 6-slotted PL, I fear for TSM's ability to solve this hero, because despite, you know, you look at Phoenix, you're like, yeah, the egg is good and Muerta's good. Just run away, you know?
Yeah.
Just run and then turn and win. So Primal Beast is a little bit of a wild card in that with the Ags. I think that can maybe push it over the edge.
Yeah, his Ags, I mean, Mjolnir eventually on Muerta. You have Drums of Slom eventually for Beastmaster.
Drums of Slom, true. That is also another one. So maybe, yeah, you're right. I didn't account for the drums.
Of a Shiva's carrier. I mean, theoretically, Phoenix would want to go for, I know he's going to be able to afford it, but I don't think there's really a Radiance holder on TSM unless they really force it. I mean, theoretically, Phoenix does like to go for it in some cases, but this is support.
The Drums of Slum are a really good point, actually. I think that's kind of the thing that could push it over the edge where TSM have enough solutions, but Kasane did deviate from it. He planned it, and now he's quick buying up a pipe instead. So maybe TSM with a little bit of a let's play it even faster mindset, let's look to push this 5. A lot of teams have failed to do that successfully in this tournament. Going high ground has been very difficult for most. And Nouns do have a lineup that will ultimately be quite hard to push into. You've got Shadow Wave from really far away that does a lot of damage. You can get kicked into base. Clockwork is always going to be a problem for displacement. And while you do have a save in the Shadow Demon, you don't have a repositioning save like, say, Nether Swap or a full-on hard save that, like Oracle, to just get people out of trouble. So it is... It does feel like this game is likely to get decided on Nouns' high ground at some point, one way or the other. And the question is when TSM want that to be. Obviously not 18 minutes in, that is definitely not going to be the case, but this is likely just going to be a farming Aegis, right? Like, how do you use this one on where it just feels very difficult to set up.
Yep, still 3 tier 2s available for the taking for TSM. They're trying to look for a pick-off first, though. Putting down an observer, but not really gaining any vision on a enemy hero quite yet, as we are about 1 minute 20 seconds away from Torment time.
Well, Dazzle can solo that, worth keeping in mind.
That's true. Oh, Bryle, the onslaught to the other side of the trees. They're going to find Moo. Can he get off his ult? Yes, he does, right on the wall. Do they have enough damage? Indeed. Oh. That was a Veil of Discord, I believe.
I'm surprised he didn't get off the grave there, but yeah, the Veil just barely got them across.
Very nice pick off. I mean, that's the thing about these fights. I feel like you kind of have to kill Dazzle first no matter what, right?
Yeah, that seems to be a great recipe to enter the fight. So you don't have exactly the best catch if he's in a good position. Like Primal can technically go dagger and jump, but do you have the follow-through burst? You know, something like a Skywrath, you know, just pile on him and just blast him during the Primal ult, but maybe it's not necessary. Like, maybe it's going to be more of a maneuverability thing where you try to just flank and set up the fight under the right terms, and then sure, maybe Dazzle gets a grave off, but if he's out of the fight because he hasn't playing offensively, that might be good enough for the side of TSM. They really want to steal this Tormentor. I think this is the perfect play on the map. It's obviously, you're already over here because you took the tower, but you also know you're playing against Dazzle, so this is effectively a 3K net worth play.
Yeah.
You get 1,400 and they don't.
Nouns have an idea that this is happening. They have the Agnum Scepter now online for the Clockwork. Kasane is going to get initiated on the AE Blast is coming. He's Spirit Vessel as well. He does get off the Roar. Looks like he can find enough distance to get away for now. Hook shot again.
Oh, that's a good Hawk.
Destroy that Hawk. Destroy him now. Delicious meat for everyone. Looks like Gunner's on a really far away from the rest of his team. Trying to get on Kasane, but he just dies.
He died to poisons, right?
And somehow Kasane, the one initiated upon, lives through the day.
That's a value pipe there, I have to say. He does not live without that. But yeah, the Hawk, more so than anything, really saved his life. It blocked the hookshot line, and Lelis obviously ends up self-stunning from the overclocking, so he can't really pursue any further. Well, they didn't get the Tormentor. At the very least, they found a core kill, and they keep control of the area. It looks like they're not going to give it up under any circumstances. They're staying around.
Yeah, they love Torment time. Understandable.
Ryle throwing a bit of a tantrum here.
They got the Wisdom Rune. That's what he was really wanting to get.
And I guess now they have to dip because they're too low.
They'll have to concede the Torment to Nouns, because it is theirs after all.
Yeah.
Now enough vision from those rocket flares to be able to secure this one for themselves.
Here comes the full squadron of flying donkeys.
Will they
Rams
get the jetpack? Yes.
What's that?
Will.
What's this dog called again?
What dog?
The courier that Clockwork has. It's from a video game, right?
Okay, go ahead.
How can I not remember this? It's called Courier. That's right.
Okay, yeah,
there we go. Yes.
Gunner 2,000 gold into his eventual heart right now. TSM sporting just a 1K lead. I mean, what kind of lead would you want if you're a TSM fan at this point? Like, is there a certain threshold, like we should be up by this amount at this point, or is it not that simple?
I think it's hard to say how much you should be up by, but I don't think 1K is really necessarily enough. PL is, once again, he has 0 assists. I don't know if K1 has over 1,000 hero damage yet. Probably not. But he's slowly but steadily getting to a point where he can start entering fights. And with that in mind, if you've kind of like drawn, as we talked about, more or less 4v5, how are the fights going to look when this guy actually turns up, right? So I don't feel overly confident that this first 20 minutes for TSM has been successful enough. But I also think in this patch it's very difficult to necessarily pull that off, and that's why perhaps that's part of the reason teams are shying away from a hero like Beastmaster, that they feel like they cannot accomplish enough of what this hero is known for, which is taking over the map and dominating in the first half hour. Maybe players just got too good at playing the map. It's hard to say. Obviously, a bit of a factor in this. There's 2 Midases on the side of Nouns, right? One of them is Dazzle, so he will use it way more than other heroes. So a lot of quote-unquote fake gold. These 2 Midases are worth almost nothing in terms of teamfight prowess. So arguably in power level, you're behind by 6K. But that's only if you know, are forced to fight. As long as you can keep using them passively, should be A-okay. And yeah, win expectancy in the game is effectively just a flat-out 50-50.
Yeah, it's definitely a close one. And we'll see if they end up going for some of the itemization we were talking about against the PL. But right now, I mean, PL is not that big of an issue until he gets to a certain point.
I think man to heart will be a problem. Okay. Until then, you probably have him decently under control. And K1 is a very seasoned player on this hero, so he understands when it's a game where he doesn't join at all. Like he's, you know, I think a lot of players will be tempted to join fights once they have their defusal, right? It's like, okay, now I have my fighting item. He's not going anywhere. He's still farming. And his quick buy currently is Manta into Lincolns into Hearts. I guess looking for some protection against the Primal Roll and the Pulverize. I want to say he's probably still going to pick up the Heart first, though.
You're telling me he has patience.
Oh, yeah.
He has 2 Midases on his team. He has to have patience.
Yeah.
You have to. There we go. He's actually going for Lincolns after the Manta.
Oh, if only someone would have told you that 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, it looks like Lincolns is going to be the choice here, Cinder. Not sure if you're aware of that.
He's buying the Heart first, but
Tier 2 tower. Looks like it's TSM's for the taking.
Yep.
And Nouns just waiting for the inevitable push into the high ground, which
I don't think it's coming here, though.
Yeah, they might just take that tier 2, then hope that Roche has spawned, but we can see it's a very, very late Roche spawn timer, which benefits Nouns, I would think.
I don't know what Moo makes of this pike here, if that's... I mean, what were your options? Could have got Octarine, could have... I mean, I guess you just want to, you know, position yourself as well as possible, so you're staying further away with this. All right, he's spamming his Midas and Fountain. Very nice.
Just got to use those spells. Get that cooldown on Midas, that's all he cares about. Next tier 2 tower, and in fact, the final tier 2 tower for Nouns will be uncontested as well. And Kasane is going to be greeted by the Ice Blast. He has, about 150 gold away from finishing his Ag, so Drums of Slom.
Yeah.
Which, we've seen that work against PL. I know it's been nerfed since then. Still relatively good skill against the hero in general. That was with like Bloodstone, and that was kind of an older school build, I think.
Yeah, and I guess you're probably unlikely to buy Bloodstone because you're against AA. But, all right.
Lelis completely out of mana. Yamson existing, which I don't think Bryle's too happy about. Gonna have to wait.
Playing AA.
He is.
He has actually probably set a record for this tournament, playing AA for 10 consecutive minutes without dying.
He only has 3 deaths. That's impressive,
What do you got?
considering how aggressive the TSM lineup is.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah, give them credit.
Yeah, he's got a half Midas, so just chilling, you know.
Oh, he's back to the half Midas again. Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 and that seems to be the average amount for nouns.
Yep.
Somewhere between 2.5 and 4 Midases.
So somewhere between 2.5 and 4 means the average is 2.5 is what you're saying.
Depends on the weight distribution.
We can't all attend our classes. Yeah. It's I got you covered.
It's been a long time.
Do you want to have one guess of what the average between those two numbers are?
3.25?
Yeah, you didn't miss that one.
Huh?
You didn't miss that one.
Because I'm smart.
That is
Pretend to be
very
for you.
much up for debate.
I mean, it's the only way to make you look good. It's me being a complete moron. Heart now online.
I have been pretending for 7
My
years.
whole life I've been saying. Life is easier this way.
Your eulogy is just, it was just a prank. Was that
Nerds.
smart?
Runner very, very tanky now. More for the SNK. Bryle about to finish his heart as well. Still about 800 away from the recipe itself, as we can see Roche is about to spawn. Kasane pretty happy about that, banging on his drums. And it'll be nighttime for the foreseeable future, so Roche will likely just be taken out by TSM. And I think this is the Roche, the Aegis they have to use well, or else I think they might be in some trouble.
It's easier said than done, though. I think it's kind of hard for their lineup to go high ground because the only hero that can truly siege is Muerta. And if there's one thing this hero absolutely hates, it's displacement, right? When you get thrown out of position.
Oh, that's a nice blast.
I mean, they're just going to pipe through it and kill it, right? But they know there's no contention. So. The problem is, if you get hookshot or if you get kicked into base by Earth Spirit, you're probably losing your first life off that alone, right? Or at the very least, you're forced to use your ult, and that might be enough to just break up the fight and delay. And while that is happening, you're facing Peel Lance spam, you're facing Shadow Wave spam, and you're facing them both at the same time, which is even worse, because the Shadow Wave is going to bounce on the Peel illusions as well as the enemy heroes. So as soon as he lances and it bounces twice, which the Axe does, you just have this like extremely annoying wall to get through. But they are going to go for it. This is the moment of truth for TSM. I feel like if they get forced back here, or even worse, take a very bad fight.
Yeah, you can. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
so much spam between the poison cut shadow waves and these rocket flares constantly coming out.
Difficult to push.
I've always wanted to be a giant spacecraft. Not right.
Like, yeah, we don't really have to do much to get you off our front door steps.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they brought back K1. I actually thought he was just going to stay mid for a bit and that they would be spamming them out with just the rockets and the dazzle, but nouns feel like Peel is needed, and I think it was the right call to bring him back.
Perhaps
so.
waiting for this heart on Bryle, still not quite finished with it.
TSM are scanning and hoping to find someone, but they could not be further away from the enemy team at this point, basically, while still playing aggressively on the map. And arguably, they have to go bottom at some point, too, because this wave coming in is going to start being relatively sizable. If any of Nouns' cores shows up there, that will force a rotation. So I think TSM will have to give up positioning a little bit here. Tomato already TPing mid. Obviously, this rocket spam. Overclocking is great on clock when you don't have to fight, and you could just use it for farming. It feels nice. You know,
right.
Sure, the stun drawbacks, kind of whatever. You know, you just keep spamming rockets on the waves, keep farming up your PL. Ever so quietly.
Have we seen more than one roar this game?
Well,
his spell icons sure are small.
he has roared the Earth Spirit
He has
bottom.
6 on there. Goodness.
And
Like he's playing on mobile or something.
I think it might have roared twice.
Twice? Okay, sure. Still not that many times for 30 minutes in the game. It just goes to show how Nouns has kind of been playing keep away
Yep.
to some degree from TSM. Waiting for their critical mass point, which PL, let's see, he has the heart done in 400 gold or 600 gold.
What do you think he's going to go after hard? Do you think Lincoln?
Lincoln's, I think so, yep.
Probably a good choice here.
Yep. You got a problem?
I got many.
Okay. But Lincoln's ain't one of them.
But you ain't one. There you go.
Bryle and company looking for an opening to get to this high ground. It's 2 minutes left on the Aegis. They need to, I feel like they do need to try to do something with this. Finally, PL within a few feet of another enemy hero. Not sure if you've seen that the entire game, other than the first death in the laning stage. A lot of creep kills since then.
I really hope the crowd is going to go wild for K1's first assist. That's what I want, guys. If there's one thing...
0, 2, and 0, but 425 creep kills. That's a lot.
If I can ask this one thing of the crowd, be the loudest you've been all event for K1's first assist here. That would be really funny to me.
Making mistakes.
Just hold your breath. It's not going to happen just yet, okay? We're waiting a bit.
Waiting for his Lincolns, I think.
Yeah, we might be. Also queued up the Shard, as well as a Disperser.
Oh, Torment time.
Oh, yeah.
They're big fans of stealing enemy Tormentator. Cross between
Tormentor and Commentator. It's you.
Right. Tormenting our audience. Bryle will get his rocks ready to throw.
Yep. Another spell against PL. It all adds up.
It's getting there.
But you need to see him first. It's hard to throw rocks at things you can't see.
Oh, you can throw them, but not going to connect.
Sure.
And it looks like Tomato's Aegis will not be used for really too much. I mean, they do have all the outer towers, but they had those already. And I can see the lead technically on Noun's side, but still, this feels like a 50-50 game. The later it goes, maybe not so much.
It's hard to say. I mean, I've built up this PL. We haven't really talked too much about the other cores, but obviously Earth Spirit is really big now at this point as well. Kaisange coming up. You've got the Dazzle almost with Octarine. Mu is quietly farming up a Storm as well, but obviously TSM, they have 3 of the top 4 net worths in the game on their cores. But there is a significant distance between the Clockwork and the supports of the Radiant. That could turn into a bit of a deciding factor here, that Lelis will just keep farming more than the enemy supports on the map with that overclocking. Just spamming out waves, keeping his net worth growing. He's 3,500 net worth ahead of the Phoenix, which is a lot at this point. That has bought him a Halberd. Not a very common item to see nowadays, but obviously nice against Muerta.
Yep, absolutely.
And he's going Lotus next.
Yeah, those rocket flares have to be one of the most annoying things to deal with. I mean, to the point where I mean, I guess I do, but most people probably couldn't even name what the Ags does for the other skills. It feels like rocket flare is the main reason that you buy that item.
It is. I mean, to be fair, it does quite a lot of things. So.
I mean, I want to see the day when the cogs giving attack speed becomes an actual thing. You go like some crazy right-click build on Clockwork. Sounds like fun.
Do you mean just the base spell?
Yeah. No, part of the Ags. Like the reason you buy the Ags.
Oh, you mean, okay, you know it already does it, but you want people to itemize it specifically.
Correct.
Yeah, I think if the drawback wasn't a 4-second self-stun, that might be a thing, but it is hard because
minor details.
You pop it, you go in, and then you stun yourself for a long time when you're really starting to get some kills.
Hey, Lincoln's is done. It looks like 6 items are finished on K1.
All right.
Is he ready to fight? As the crowd goes wild,
relax,
anticipation
no assist.
For the first assist of the game for K1.
Take it easy.
He might need to wait for the Shard, though.
We're not there yet.
And then Disperser after that, and then maybe need to, you know, consume the Ags and then buy another item. So there might still be some time to wait.
He has room to grow.
12-6 at 35 minutes in the game.
Fun fact, it was also 12-6 at 25 minutes into the game.
That is
And at 20 minutes into the game. The last kill was minute 21, I think.
Wow.
Am I wrong? No. The last kill was... Whitemon killed Gunner. Minute 20.
K1 has killed a tower. That doesn't count as an assist, technically speaking, but we'll give it to him. He has bought the Shard now.
Here comes Kasane, so K1's out of there.
Okay, yeah.
Shard coming up.
Yeah, the Shard on Kasane as well, by the way, so...
Yep.
Got a zoo.
Extra Hawk. Shadow Demon. I think Whitemon should be farming more, or stacking more, to be honest. I think if you're playing this kind of stalemate game, the supports have to follow through and really get there too. And it just looks like nouns are getting more value out of that. Keep in mind, you're getting out-farmed by Shadow Demon, or by AA as Shadow Demon, right? Like, AA has nothing to farm with except Philosopher's Stone. So if Shadow Demon was actually focusing on stacking camps or farming wherever his cores aren't, I think Whitemon could be looking at 2k more network.
Oh, the roll in. Will we have a kill in this game?
Here he comes.
Oh,
okay,
Gunnar really wants to find Kasane. He will kick him back into the Lotus Fountain, and K1 is doing damage to something that's not a creep. But he's going to try to get out of dodge now. He's not interested in fighting. He still wants more items to work with. Gets the Spirit Lance out as Tomato ready to do some damage here. No kill yet, ladies and gentlemen. Might have to wait a bit as Nouns resetting now. They forgot how to actually fight. Action stun onto Mr. Earth Spirit, the Primal Roar to follow. A-Blast is coming, doing a nice amount of damage with the trample, but he's going to get graved. And Gunnar still being surrounded by Brown. Not sure if he can actually get away from this. As Tomato pops the ult, dealing so much damage to K1. Still doesn't have a kill or an assist, and now he has to run away in shame. Invisible right now. Nice hook shot with 2 in the cogs from Lelis. Beautifully done as the cheeses pop. Bryle is very healthy. We'll take a disarm there from that halberd. That's going to be 3 deaths for Nouns. They kill off everyone other than K1, and somehow the Ancient Apparition lives just to taunt us. And K1, he's not finished farming yet. Still needs a few more minutes, Cinderella.
That was a great fight from TSM, I have to say. They did a really good job weaving in and out, playing around the perimeter of the fight. Got a lot of value out of the drums of Slom and the pipe on Beastmaster. Kasane tanked so much in that fight, and they just keep him alive. They have the supports protecting. Tomato gets quite a bit of freedom.
K1 pretending that he actually wants to chase here. We all know that's not going to be the case. Eventually, he will run away.
Sunray.
And there we go. Forcing out 1 spell, and that's enough. Back to the creeps.
Structural damage.
Yep, a little bit.
It adds up. But that was honestly kind of important for TSM to experience this fight and recognize that, okay, finally, if they do give us the fight, we can win it, right? They win it cleanly. They're gonna, as their reward, probably going to get the Roshan here unless Nouns can get over there. And it kind of is playing out the way we were predicting, right? Like, PL is going to force spells and then keep kiting forever, but if he can't ultimately pierce through heroes after that, it's all for naught. Like, the Supernova went out, Beastmaster used everything, and while PL didn't die, his teammates weren't able to distance themselves. They actually kept going in to try to set up the PL, but he wasn't strong enough to commit. So Lelis kind of killed himself going in, Gunnar died, and ultimately they ran down Mu as well, as you pointed out. So maybe...
Disperser finished on K1.
Yeah.
Now all he can do is consume the Ags and maybe upgrade the treads.
Yeah, do you reach, like, what is the last item here? Is it Butterfly? Is it Swift Blink? Like, so you could just...
I mean, you don't really need boots on this hero, right? And
not necessarily true. So
especially with Disperser as well. Yeah,
so maybe what K1... What he identified in the last fight when he was halfway through it was, I can't kill a core. I need to kill supports first.
I think they want to contest this. AA Blast is coming. A bunch of illusions now from K1. It's going to get gone on by Bryle, who has that Aghanim Scepter, so the Uproar, something you do have to worry about if you're Nouns. Pipe's going to dissipate here relatively shortly as Roche is at half HP. And K1 pretending to go in. He's going to get roared. Lincoln's broken. There's the roar. He's dead. 80 seconds of no PL. Not much difference in this game because he's not going to be hitting creeps at least. That's the big difference, but hasn't really been a PL this game, it feels like. As now Roche is available for TSM, and this is a big one. This is Refresher Shard. You could wait 15 seconds to get the Ags, but they're not going to take the chance.
There's just no way around it. That's just a blunder. Like, he's going in. His teammates are nowhere near to save him. There was no hook shot for a save. There's no Force Staff. There's no Grave. Mu has Dagger and Force Staff, and he still couldn't grave him. So K1 was way far ahead there. We're going to see the replay here. So, like...
That was really quick between the Lincolns breaking and the Pulverize. Like, super fast. It's like I was just ready to play Dota. All right, back to hitting creeps in 30 seconds. As Bryle now not scared at all. Going for this high ground push as Mu will try to spam everything out. Fortifications pop. Muerta still with that Aegis because she literally just picked it up. Hasn't died since then, in case you're wondering. And this is going to be a set of racks, I do believe. 13 seconds left on K1. Another fortification, so they do want to defend this melee racks as there's the overclock activation. And see if Clockwork wants to go in here. Mr. Lelis. They will be able to defend the melee rack, so that's pretty big for Nouns. And now PL is back.
Maybe the thing that nouns needs, we've been focusing so much on the peel, maybe the key thing here is unlocking Gunnar, who seems to be struggling with initiating fights because the turnaround potential, we talked about how this isn't the best Earth Spirit game compared to the previous one. He seems to have a hard time going in because if he goes in, he's going to get roared and just blasted, right? But when the BKB comes out, he's going to be able to ignore a ton of damage. He's going to take way less from the Primal. He's going to take way less from the Beastmaster, and the Shadow Demon and Phoenix in particular are going to be doing way less to him. So maybe for nouns, that is what you're hoping for to get him in. But essentially, you need long fights, right? You need them to drag out so that PL can keep poking, and you need to find supports because you're not killing the cores. They're too tanky. Beastmaster has this huge tanking build. Primal speaks for itself, right? And Muerta, half of the fights, Tomato has Aegis. So not really going to be an easy target either for them. So TSM?
It feels like their whole lineup for nouns is just like poking in and out. They don't really have this guy that's just going to go in and kill everyone.
Lelis overclocked.
Yes,
you got stunned.
He is self-stunned. Going to hook shot to safety. Gets onto the other wall.
Nice
Will be fine. K1. I really do wonder how much damage he has done this game.
I mean, he's starting to lance spam quite a lot, so it's going to add up.
Let's see. 14.
More than Gunnar by now.
That is, I mean, I guess that's not that surprising considering Gunnar, he can't really fight without a steal at this point.
He can't really go. He's going to complete his BKB now for the upcoming fight. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him queuing up a Linken's next, because you need that freedom of movement in these fights as Earth Spirit. You need to be able to run in, pop your BKB, and not get roared. So you can get off all your spells at least once. TP back to base here. Let's see if TSM fancy going here. 2 minutes on their Aegis is plenty to try to get something done.
Rock throw actually will hit. They got to get rid of that Linken's first, though. What is their best Linken's breaker this game?
Probably Demonic Purge.
Yep, as Braille jumps in. A blast will clip him barely as there's the roar, this time expended for Gunnar. You can see Moo on the outskirts ready to grave at any point. Before he gets to half HP, we'll be able to use the BKB and roll away. Another grave to come just to make sure. Pretty tense moment here as TSM distracted by the fact that Tormentor is available. They really love this Tormentor.
Like
still, even at this stage, going high ground is quite difficult.
They don't actually have Phoenix Shard.
Torment time.
They should really try to get this Phoenix Shard.
They might. 50-50. There we go.
All right.
That is a very good one.
How is that a 50-50? It's the only shard they didn't have.
Yep, 50-50. Between him and the enemy.
Is that another comeback mechanic? There's 50% chance you get nothing.
Yeah, that's
breaking
right.
the Torment. Okay. Makes sense.
40 seconds on the Aegis. Tomato.
He is progressing. I mean, they're getting some damage in.
Yep, it's going to happen eventually, you would think. Of course, this endless.
Oh my God, this is
my God, so much damage. All right, well, Bryle is trying to put a stop to this, but he goes in with his BKB and nobody's with him. Now hightailing away, and I think TSM are just going to back away knowing that this Aegis is going to expire in 20 seconds. They don't want to be caught in a weird spot. They still have the refresher shard, by the way, and it is on the Phoenix.
All right, Aegis is out. Time to play the map, probably until next rush for TSM. I just think high grounding is genuinely impossible for them without an Aegis. It's just so difficult. So essentially what you're hoping to do at this point is keep control of the map, smoke out at some points, and if you find and kill PL, that is where you force high ground and get a buyback. Because if K1 is out, the defense is not possible. His spam is way too important to holding them off. And if they were to find him now, he wouldn't have buyback, so they would actually just end the game. But doesn't look like they're in the right area of the map to make that happen.
Back to the spam. K1. Looks like Bloodthorn will be the choice.
Okay.
So either going to consume the Ags or just ditch the treads.
Probably ditch the treads first, you would imagine, right? It's too expensive to go the other way around. He is approaching his 25 talent. Do we have any of those? We do have the Muerta one. Magic resistance.
Yep, pretty
one of
solid.
the less
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
creative ones.
but very good. Bryle's going to be found out. Well, onslaught to the other side. We're going to have a fight here. Whitemon's going to get some action with Gunnar as he puts himself in a very precarious spot. And Tomato's going to pop his ult and trying to delete Gunnar, but the Grave comes out just at the last moment. See if another Grave will come from Moo, if he even needs it on Gunnar, but they're going to lose the Shadow Demon from the TSM side first.
K1 got in his face!
Great job for K1 as Bryle trying to get away with that BKB. The pipe is still activated, so mitigating a lot of damage. Going to pop the cheese as well, so we'll live through the day. The first egg comes through, healing up Tomato. Kasane gets off the roar onto the newly minted 1 assist on the Phantom. Okay, Mr. Phantom Lancer, K1, trying to poke K1 from afar. See the Rocket players from the south as Gunnar is going to sheep mid-rolling boulder. Very weird fight, very segregated overall as K1 now focusing his efforts onto Ari. Looks like that's going to be the kill as Gunnar now continuing the pressure as Kasane gets to the high ground. He's going to have buyback here potentially coming out as a big A blast comes in. Will hit Kasane, and somehow Nouns kill 4 heroes. I thought they forgot how to do that halfway through this game, but they've remembered. But they do lose a set of racks in the top.
Damn, look at that damage from Dazzle. He actually did more damage than the PL in that fight. 12.5K coming out of Moo.
Yeah, those shadow waves on the PL have been insane.
Yeah. And I think the critical difference in this fight, there's a couple of things that happened. First of all, Gunnar went on, he was the first target, right? So he's going to go in here and start off the fight, and he has the BKB, and he's tanking quite a lot of spells here and a lot of damage, right? From Tomato, forces out his ult, he gets graved, and he gets to reset. This is what Nouns want in the fight, is for Gunnar to be able to do this with confidence so that they can just make the fight chaotic, make it long, and then PL ultimately will start building up. The hookshot from Lilith is crucial here, killing off Shadow Demon. You need to kill the support first, right? At the very least one of them. And then the fight can open up suddenly. That's what happens. So.
And that was with 2 eggs being used, so now the Refresher Shard is gone. Although it looks like Ari is... Well, he's going to finish his Boots of Bearing first, but then Refresher will be next on the list if he's able to get to that point. And K1, who now has 2 kills and 2 assists, actually, will be consuming his bag shortly. Very lackluster cheering.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be consuming the Ags for an eventual Swift Blink. And then Moonshard is next, of course. And then I think he's done at that point. Maybe a pocket Boots of Travel.
True.
Not ready to go here as Bryle's going to get some Lotus Flowers to consume.
That
one
was
is top net worth in the game.
That team fight was about a 12,000 net worth swing. So
yeah, that was huge.
That is absolutely huge for Nouns. Obviously not out of the woods yet. This is still an extremely close game, so this kind of team fight win, while nice, isn't going to cut it for them, but it will open up for a bit more aggression, it seems. The confidence here to push in through bottom.
Oh, we're going to have a fight up top. Pulverize is there. AA Blast coming in. It's not really going to connect because Gunnar is already dead.
No grave for him there. Dazzle is covering PL bottom.
Yeah, it's going to force a fortification. Going to have to come back to their base here pretty shortly. Doppelganger away potentially is Kasane. He's going to get some Axes action with those Drums of Slom going to work as well as Bryle. Nice onslaught. Can they find the correct Phantom Lancer? There's the Sheep to try to keep him at bay. Another Doppelganger onto the high ground. But no, K1's actually stuck on the low ground. He gets unlucky, but you can see the Primal Beast actually going for the wrong target. And now, finally, the Primal Roar.
They found him!
Sunray is there. K1, he is dead. No buyback on this Phantom Lancer. 100 seconds he has to wait.
That play from Nouns is...
high risk.
It's super high risk. You're splitting your team in half 50 minutes into the game. You're sending PL to push bottom and covering him with Dazzle, which means you're leaving your Earth Spirit vulnerable top. And ultimately what happens is Earth Spirit dies, TSM have a power play, and they're just going to collapse on bottom as soon as they can. Very well played by Kasane there to just be patient, isolate the right PL, get that roar with the Sunray, and find that kill. I think Grave was not available for Moo there. He maybe wasn't in range. And then it is a big one. They don't know he doesn't have buyback, but, you know, they're absolutely going to try to force it out if he does have it. So 100%. The play is the same regardless.
Yeah, 50 seconds. Roche is back, so they have something to fall back to if they choose to go down that road. But like you said, 5v4, whether they know it or not. Kasane, oh, Tomato actually goes to the high ground, trying to take out the Dazzle, but he's been able to find enough distance to get away. But the Primal Roar onto Gunnar. There's the Grave from afar, nicely done from Moo. AA Blast is coming in as Tomato stuck inside the cogs, but I think it's Lelis that's actually stuck inside there instead, as he is completely surrounded. Will likely be the first casualty, but the Grave comes in at the last moment, again from Moo. No one is dying from Nouns because of this freaking Dazzle, and just like that, TSM have to pull away. 13 seconds from K1, and now I don't even know if they get Roche for free anymore.
That's a really good hold. No casualties, they didn't lose any barracks in this 5v4. 50 minutes in, this is usually the recipe for losing at least one lane, but they hold out. And yeah, their heroes are just stupidly tanky, right? Gunnar has a heart, Lelis has a heart on the clock.
Okay, okay.
They're sending these tanky heroes in front and just keeping them alive with the Dazzle and buying time.
Oh, overclock. Get out of his way.
Yeah, trying to
get
find
some vision. Morale trying to cut them off at the source. Throwing rocks in his frustration will actually hit Gunnar. Now the overclock is ending. Maybe this is the path for TSM to potentially take this Roche, but still will be difficult.
Moo is taking care of top wave in the meantime, so TSM do see at least one hero on the map right now, and they know the PL illusions are here too. But yeah, Dazzle with the Travels level 2 will always be able to connect. Also with the Arcane Blink picked up on Moo, a classic super late game Dazzle item is in this patch.
Yeah, that one's dirty. That is such a dirty item for this hero.
So
now that it
effectively,
heals and gives mana each time you blink.
You're kind of Tinker in a way.
A poor man's Tinker, a less disgusting Tinker, some would say.
That's up for debate.
Yeah, true. One. Keeping this wave pushed perpetually. Brian will take it out with Trample as well, so these creeps are not passing this location as Roshoff number X of this TI continues.
K1 is just cutting the wave. He has no cares.
All right, Roche attempt from TSM.
They can keep rocket spamming it though. They should get the information, but actually 10-second cooldown.
A blast is coming though. Roche will take all that damage.
Pretty hard to get in there. Ninja gear.
Man, such a pivotal moment in this game. It could be the end of TSM's run if they lose this potentially. Back into the pit they go. And there the Muerta ult comes to fruition, and look at the damage. They're gonna get some vision thanks to the rockets, but Roche has died and TSM will claim the rewards that come with it. Gunnar and company, do they actually want to continue to fight this? They have all the vision in the world as Bryle's gonna onslaught to the other side, pops the uproar as well.
No ulti on Muerta is a big deal here. You've got to be careful if you're TSM. You committed that to get that Roche kill. So now it's time to kite.
Continually being harassed by these illusions that seemingly never end. And the roll in onto Ari. Can they take out the Phoenix before an egg can be consumed? But no, the disruption comes out. A blast is coming. An early grave on the Gunnar just to make sure that he's okay. As Tomato doing a lot of damage from the high ground. But it looks like Gunnar's going to die inside the pit. The AA dies as well. And Nouns will likely have to try to fall back. Only having 3 members available. 2 buybacks are there, though, for Nouns if they really want to use them. Another overclock used as Tomato. Not able to get the stun off there, so the TP is successful.
What a nice sequence from TSM. They get the Roche, they get these 2 kills. They bide their time because it's a moment of vulnerability when Muerta doesn't have ult. Sure, you have the Aegis, but it's still kind of scary. You're cornered in the bottom right corner of the map. You know the enemy has vision of you, but they're just buying the time they need, and they find that, you know, Gunnar goes in on the Phoenix. I think he was maybe expecting a little bit more backup from K1 on that. Obviously, the disruption came out, but maybe they could have killed the egg together, as a matter of fact, there if they would have popped everything on it, but...
K1 trying to solo defend this for now. And Tomato and Kasane making, I would say, short work of the illusions. That wasn't really that easy. And now pounding on the tower. Can Nouns hold this? Again, they do have their buybacks intact, but don't want to use them if they don't have to. Tier 3 towers dead. Sunray expended from TSM side.
This is
These illusions
so
obnoxious.
Never end. I really feel for TSM here with pushing.
Oh, big Pulverize coming in with a nice clockwork.
Oh, they got Kasane with it!
Kasane's deep inside the base, and he's dead. No Beastmaster. Could buy back as well. I'm sure most of the buybacks in this game are intact overall. Now, absolutely no mana whatsoever on Bryle, and he gets destroyed. So not only do Nouns get 2 kills, they don't have to buy back to be able to hold that.
Yeah, it
Now
seems like
Ari on the run.
it's so frustrating, right? You really feel for TSM when they're pushing this high ground.
Silence there from Gunnar. Tomato with the calling.
It's kind of forcing some errors, right? Miscommunication there about what the plan really was. You have Beastmaster and Primal diving a little bit into the base while everyone else is disengaging away from the PL and Dazzle spam. And ultimately,
Oh my goodness.
of course.
We have a Divine Rapier on Tomato.
Well, we don't. We have it on his courier.
His courier has Divine Rapier. That is a powerful courier.
There it comes. What's he going to swap out? It's going to be the BKB and the Pike for now. Has to be quick on his inventory management.
Yes.
There's some really important items in his backpack.
Are they going to give up this set of racks is the question. Again, TSM have both their buybacks, but they might just hold off on using them.
I think those 2 buybacks are worth more than 2 lanes. This late into the game,
Yeah,
having
I would
2
agree.
cores without buyback is extremely dangerous.
Tomato's Rapier will not be a surprise factor at all, as now K1 focusing on bottom. And it looks like you're right. They will be giving up 2 sets of racks. And we'll see what they can do with this Divine Rapier. And of course, still a minute and a half on that Aegis as K1 looking to pick a fight right now. Might just need to focus on the barracks and be happy with that. As the rocket flares come out, that is the overclock from the Clockwork. As looks like they'll be able to defend this melee Rex in the end.
Oh,
My goodness, the items coming out. Wind Waker, what is
big pickup here.
These items are ridiculous.
This is actually a really key item here because if you can save from Roar unless the Demonic Purge is on top as well, right? So you kind of need to stack your spells.
Yeah.
It gives him a way of disengaging from the fight himself now. When he hooks in, if he sees a bad moment, he can just reposition out. On top of his, obviously he already has the jetpack, but that kind of depends on you not being stunned. Whereas the Wind Waker, as long as you get it off, you can't get stunned during it. So the utility through the roof here for nouns. And AA is close to a refresher.
Oh.
Yamson wants this. That is a
It's
very
Torment
big
time.
late game item.
It's not Torment time anymore. It's just gold.
That was a very short Torment time.
In fact, that Gunner's not 25 yet. It's actually quite surprising.
The fact that we're 58 minutes in and you haven't talked about tier 5 neutral items.
I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, you know? Every time we do that, the game ends within 10 seconds.
That's not true. We had tier 5s yesterday.
Yeah, one fight and then the game was over.
I mean, that's generally how they work, right?
Sometimes.
A lot of it.
I think, especially with a Rapier in the game, that's probably how it will go. Whoever wins the next fight should be victorious.
It really, it so much comes down to these buybacks, right? Because the buyback status is everything in a game like this. It means if one team has all buybacks and the other one doesn't, and a huge fight breaks out and it turns into like a 10v7, you know, that's generally where games are ended. So I think all heroes at this point should really look after their buyback. And the problem right now that TSM are facing is after buying the Rapier, Tomato doesn't have it for another 1700.
I mean, if he loses the Rapier, I think the game should be over, sure.
That's fair, I suppose.
Then again, Downs don't really have the greatest
It's pretty good on
carrier.
It's pretty good on Dazzle with the Ag Shadow Wave.
Oh, that's true.
It fires an auto attack,
I forgot
right?
about that.
It's actually quite a lot of damage.
Damn. I'd love to see that. But yeah, PL with a Divine, doesn't apply to the illusions at all. All right, dead even game, 59 minutes and 20 seconds. Now we will start discussing tier 5 items.
Okay.
What's a good one? What's a good tier 5 item this game?
Book of Shadows is insane against Beastmaster. It really messes with that hero.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one that Nouns would want one of, if not even 2. Judging from how these fights have gone so far, I think Arcanist's armor is also going to be very interesting.
That, I feel like nobody goes for that.
But you only want one, right?
Right.
I just... These fights are just a mess. Like, there's so much damage flying around everywhere all the time, so I would at least say TSM should consider investing into one. Just think about how much damage is being spread around, right? It's ridiculous. Rockets, spam from PL, spam from Dazzle, Earth Spirit Magnetized, that will be undispellable soon because he's almost 25. I can't believe Gunnar isn't 25, actually.
I said this already, but
yeah,
thank you.
that is still kind of crazy.
Thanks for joining
It
us.
is equally crazy to when you pointed it out. It's actually crazier now because we're later in the game than when you said it.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You're right. It's been one full minute. All right, okay, Arc in his armor.
There you go, Kasane.
Not ignoring
nice.
it for once. Very
good.
cool. Ex Machina on Huerta.
Standard. Getting
So
the
can
cooldown.
refresh the Divine Rapier, very important.
Nice.
K1 has the Giant's Ring.
Oh, that's a big.
That's a juicy
That
boy.
is a big clock in bottom lane.
Very nice.
That is.
So 2 Giant's Rings.
Oh, baby, that is. He looks. I have never seen clock with this item, actually. He looks menacing.
He's not quite 25 yet, but I wonder what he's going to go for. Is the battery assault interval, perhaps, or debuff immunity inside cogs?
I think the battery.
Radiant's middle
Battery.
barracks are
It's
under
probably
attack. Radiant's middle barracks
probably the one.
is falling.
What else we got? Mirror shield on the
Higher
dazzle.
at on Phoenix, the right-click machine that he is. Of course, the bounty runes are kind of a big deal, especially if you
Yeah.
think this game's going another 40 minutes, which could happen, of course.
And it's always the wildcard item, Seer Stone on Yamsun, which has the potential impact of just winning the game off of the active.
Yep, increases the range of his Ice Blast as well, I believe.
Phenomenal.
Right, Cinderin?
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
But yeah, the 800 AoE vision has the potential to win games. So it is, the potential is there. On the other side, we've got Ex Machina, like you mentioned. There's also Seer Stone and Shadow Demon. Force Boots the choice of Bryle. So not a single Book of Shadows was chosen. That's a bit surprising. I feel like both teams really benefit from this item. There's no way they weren't offered it for any of their 5 heroes, right?
Maybe it's too high skill an item for TI.
Yeah.
To be fair, it is a really difficult one to use.
But
But I agree. We talked about this yesterday. I think it's the most, in theory, the most powerful tier 5 item.
it just, the potential is just incredible, right? And I think in this game it's actually relatively simple to use compared to a lot of other games because, you know, you're either going to pop it on a Roar target if you're the Dire, or on the Radiant you're going to pop it on the target PL is laying into, right? You have time to react, you know what you want to do with it. It's relatively telegraphed, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the wrong heroes were offered it, but I would have definitely liked to see at least one.
Roche up in 8 seconds. They're actually scanning, so they have a good idea that Lelis is just chilling in the pit. Gunner going to be found as well. We'll dodge the rocks. Roche number 5.
So what?
And this age is pretty important for the likes of TSM, especially with that Divine Rapier, which we
Yeah.
haven't gotten to see too much of yet.
I think TSM's hexes are equally important. They really need to find this Dazzle and just blast him. He has Lincoln's and Mirror Shield though, so good luck. But, all right.
Oh, Pulverize to start. AA Blast is coming in from Yamsun. It's going to connect on the Primal Beast and pop the BKB. Gunner pops his own and jumps right in, gets the refresher up, but shortly after is Roar, but a nice grave from afar as Moo keeping him healthy, trying to get Op to the other side, but he's going to continue to get stunned.
Braved again.
Braved again, number 2, trying to roll out, but Kasani's body is just too thick to get through, and Gunner has died. We'll buy back and instantly try to TP here. Now big fight to Lelis inside the colony right now. The onslaught coming in from the Primal Beast is K1 continuing to do a lot of damage with these illusions. Doesn't want to get too far in his Tomato. Still available with that Divine Rapier. Now trying to focus all his efforts on a Gunner. He has his BKB again popped because he probably popped Ex Machina, which is a great movie, by the way. His move going to be able to get the grave off on himself. We'll get to the other side, and that's going to be the death of Gunner. Dieback for him, and just like that, it's a 5 versus 4 for TSM. And we'll see if Nouns try to retreat in the process here as they lost their mid laner. Bryle gonna spot Yamsun, somehow lives on Ancient Apparition, just a miracle. See the Wind Waker onto Lelis. Trying to find an avenue to be able to get out. Looks like he will not be pursued any further despite being extremely thick as mid lane has to be defended now. But knowing that that's a dieback, you have 90 seconds where you know for a fact it is 5 versus 4.
Yeah.
The fact that Gunner died twice, and if I'm not mistaken, nobody else died in that fight.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Yep.
NA math and all, you can never trust that, but
And now Nouns, because of this pressure mid that they put with K1, look to be grabbing themselves an Aegis here, 4v5 late game.
okay. Very normal.
I mean, the guy you wanted on is dead though. So I guess it goes to Lelis? Moo?
Yeah, who takes
Lelis.
All right.
All right. Okay. This will be the only time this TI Lelis gets to hold that unless he wins the tournament.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a Roche be conceded when it's 5v4 late game situation. That is so weird.
that is
very weird.
Truly a rarity, but this game has had plenty of those.
Indeed.
Clockwork Aegis, I wonder how many times that has happened in a TI. Probably less than 5.
Divine Rapier still there, and still no buyback, by the way.
The bottom lane is
Tomato.
such a problem for TSM. They have to keep rotating heroes back to deal with this
K1.
A1 pressure. Lincoln's popped.
Okay.
Right, that's a full pulverize.
Force boots there. See TP's coming in from Kasane. He gets off the roar. Pulverize just lasts forever at this point. Trample doing a decent amount of damage, but now K1 can turn his efforts onto the rest of TSM because they can't tell who's real at this point. Looks like he's going to get to the other side.
Dispersed and ran left. They saw it, though.
Onto the Well of Eternity. Definitely not the real name, but we're going to coin it that now as the Lincolns has popped again. K1 onto the high ground he's trying to get. Of course, he can just walk through the terrain freely thanks to that Tier 5 item brought to you by Valve Software. As K1 gets sheeped. Still pretty fast, but there's another pulverize. And now Tomato with the Divine Rapier rips him a new one. 90 seconds of no PL, but buyback remains. And during this entire process, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, Gunnar did spawn.
Yeah, and he also tipped K1.
Oh,
so
very important, yeah.
jumped the gun a little bit on that. He was like, good job, K1, and then he instantly died. So, you know, maybe not. Maybe wait until he's actually out. He really thought that was a clean escape. And honestly, it did look like it was going to be, but late game Dota is wild. Even being away 2,500 range is not enough against a Primal with Dagger, Hex, and a full duration Pulverize.
Ahri has Aegis. He has Refresher Orb finally. We talked about that 20 minutes ago. Finally is a real item in his inventory. Very powerful on that hero. Bryle was poking bottom racks.
Is this going to be the time that TSM get a barracks against?
I don't know. Hook shot in from Lel. There's the buyback onto K1. They have the Grave right now in the clockwork, but remember, he does have that Aegis intact. He's going to use the Refresher for himself. Going to go for a second roar as Tomato's going to have Refresher for himself as well. As they're being pursued onto the high ground, into the enemy triangle. There's the first egg, I do believe, as Tomato trying to save Kasane, but just dies to the illusions. Tomato now has kind of to stand his ground. Has to be really careful. This is the Divine Rapier we're talking about. The disruption to keep him alive a little longer, but beautiful Kong. Tomato's dead. Divine Rapier on the deck. Who will pick it up? Whitemon gonna survive a little bit longer as Ahri finally passes with pressure. There's the second egg, now being completely destroyed, and he is donezo. No buyback available. Divine Rapier now on the side of Nouns, and it is Dazzle, like you said, so Shadow Wave will apply his auto attack. And now he just needs a Daedalus, for God's sake.
I love this. Mu also has one in his quick buy. Let's go for the double dip here.
Beautiful.
I think the crit's probably better, but you know, it's more fun, and Mu likes fun, so.
I mean, they don't know that there's no buyback on Muerta.
They're about to find out, because they're running straight down mid to try to force these buybacks. No buyback on Muerta, not on Fifi.
Yeah, there's the first buyback. This onto Bryle. There's the fortification, likely to last the game for TSM if they can't defend this. Still 50 seconds without 4, maybe even 5 heroes here. That is NA math at its best. K1 continuing with the illusion. There's already one Tier 4 tower down. I don't think there's going to be anything to stop him. As Bryle trying to make one last defense, because if they lose here, they're out of TI. There's a Lotus Order applied to him. His Gunner's going to jump in with the BKB. Lelis getting a beautiful cogs onto Kasane. Cannot get off a roar as the Ancient is fully exposed. K1 looking to finish the job. He started farming the whole game, Cinderin, but now he finishes it in style as Nouns knock out their NA brethren and TSM from TI.